My wife spent 6 months convincing everyone I was controlling. The problem was, I didn't know I was controlling until people started treating me like they were scared of me. Her friends stopped talking when I walked into a room. Her sister removed me from Instagram. Even my own brother asked me if I had a problem with Emma going out alone. I remember laughing. Then I realized he wasn't joking. By that point, my wife had already built an entire version of our marriage that I knew nothing about. And in her version, I was the reason she couldn't do anything. Emma and I had been married for 5 years. I genuinely thought we were happy. I know how that sounds now. Every idiot who misses something obvious says the same thing. But I wasn't walking around ignoring screaming matches or holes punched in walls. We barely argued. If Emma wanted to see her friends, she went. If she wanted to spend money, I never checked her account. We had a joint account for bills and kept the rest separate. I thought that was healthy. Apparently, Emma had been telling people something completely different. The first time I noticed it was at her sister's birthday. Emma had gone outside with a few friends. I stayed inside because I was talking to her dad about football. When Emma came back, I checked the time and realized it was almost midnight. I had work at 6, so I told her I was probably going to head home soon. That's it. I didn't tell her to leave. I didn't ask where she'd been. I just said I was tired. The room went quiet. Not completely, but enough that I noticed. One of Emma's friends looked at her. Emma looked at the floor. Then she said she'd come home with me. I remember feeling awkward. I told her she could stay. She said it was fine. On the drive home, she barely spoke. I assumed she was annoyed because I'd left early. The next morning, I apologized. That's the part one keep coming back to. I apologized. A week later, my brother called me. He asked if everything was okay between me and Emma. I told him we were fine. Then he asked whether I had a problem with her going out. I laughed. He didn't. Apparently, his girlfriend had heard something from Emma's sister. Something about me checking where Emma was. Something about me getting angry when she stayed out late. I remember sitting in my car outside work, genuinely confused. I asked him what exactly he'd heard. He wouldn't give me details. He just told me to be careful. Be careful. Like I was one bad night away from becoming someone everyone already thought I was. I went home that evening and asked Emma if she'd told people I stopped her going out. She looked hurt. Not guilty. Hurt. She said she'd never call me controlling. I believed her. That's embarrassing now. But Emma knew exactly how to make me feel disgusting for questioning her. By the end of that conversation, I was apologizing again. After that, I started noticing things. Emma would ask if she could go somewhere. She'd never done that before. At first, I thought she was being considerate. Then I realized she only did it around other people. We'd be having dinner with friends, and she'd casually ask if I minded her going out Saturday. Everyone would look at me. I always said yes. Of course I said yes. Then Emma would smile and thank me. Thank me. Like I'd given my wife permission to leave the house. It made my skin crawl. I started wondering if maybe I really had done something. That's what scares me most when I think about that period. I went through years of our relationship in my head looking for evidence against myself. Had I complained too much? Had I made her feel guilty? Was there something in my voice I couldn't hear? I started changing how I spoke to her. If Emma came home late, I didn't ask where she'd been. If she spent the weekend away, I made sure not to text too much. I became terrified of proving a story I hadn't even heard properly. And Emma got more distant. She started going out almost every Friday. Then Saturdays too. I didn't question it. I wanted to be a good husband. Or maybe I just wanted everyone to stop looking at me like I was a bad one. One Friday, Emma told me she was going to her friend Rachel's house. I told her to have fun. She kissed me goodbye. Around 11, I went to bed. At 2 in the morning, I woke up because someone was knocking on our front door. It was Rachel. She looked terrified. The first thing she asked was whether Emma was home. I told her Emma was supposed to be with her. Rachel just stared at me, and I watched the fear on her face turn into confusion. That's when she said something that made the last 6 months feel completely different. Emma had told Rachel she couldn't come over anymore because I had installed cameras inside our house. I hadn't, but standing there at 2 in the morning, I finally understood why my wife needed everyone to believe I was watching her. She needed a reason no one would ever come inside and see what she'd been hiding. I didn't sleep after Rachel left. I sat at the kitchen table until the sun came up, staring at parts of my own house like I'd never seen them before. The hallway. The living room. The small spare bedroom Emma used as an office. There were no cameras. Of course there weren't. But Rachel believed there were. And the more I thought about it, the worse that lie became. Emma hadn't just told people I was controlling. She'd given them a reason to stay away from our house. I started wondering who else she'd told. Her sister? My brother? Her co-workers? How many people thought I was sitting at home watching my wife through cameras while she asked permission to see her friends? I felt sick. Then I started thinking about the spare bedroom. Emma had worked from home twice a week for years. I almost never went in there. Not because I wasn't allowed. I just had no reason to. It was her space. Her desk, her work laptop, boxes of clothes she kept promising to sell. I hadn't opened that door in months. That morning I did. Nothing looked strange. That's what bothered me. I'd expected something obvious. Another man's clothes. Money. Drugs. I don't know. Instead, the room looked painfully normal. I stood there feeling like an idiot. Maybe Rachel had misunderstood. Maybe Emma had made some stupid joke. I was already doing it again. Building excuses for her. Then I noticed the wardrobe. There was a small suitcase inside. I'd never seen it before. It was packed. Not holiday packed. There were no sandals or sunscreen. There were jeans, underwear, toiletries, a phone charger. Enough clothes for maybe 4 or 5 days. At the bottom was an envelope with cash. I counted it twice. Just over $3,000. My first thought was that Emma was planning to leave me. And the strange thing is, I almost felt relieved. That explanation hurt. But at least it made sense. She'd told everyone I was controlling because she wanted sympathy before ending the marriage. The suitcase was her escape bag. Ugly. Cruel. But understandable. Then I found the second phone. It was underneath the cash. Powered off. I sat on the floor holding it for probably 10 minutes. I didn't know the password. I tried Emma's birthday. Wrong. Our anniversary. Wrong. Then I tried the 4 digits she used for almost everything when we first met. It opened. I wish it hadn't. There were barely any apps. No social media. No photographs. Just messages. Most were with one number saved as M. I expected an affair. Honestly, by then, I wanted it to be an affair. I know that sounds insane. But cheating was simple. Another man. A selfish decision. A marriage ends. You cry, get divorced, and eventually learn how to sleep alone. This wasn't simple. The messages went back almost 8 months. Emma had been meeting someone every Friday. Sometimes Saturday. The same nights I'd been trying so hard not to ask where she was. I kept reading. There were addresses, times, amounts of money, and photographs of our house. Not selfies. Photographs taken from outside. Our front door. My car. The kitchen window. One picture showed me taking the bins out. I stared at myself in that photograph. I was wearing an old gray t-shirt and one slipper. I remember that morning. I'd stepped outside quickly because I'd forgotten collection day. Someone had been watching me. And Emma had the photograph on a phone I didn't know existed. I stopped reading. My hands were shaking so badly I nearly dropped it. For months, I'd been scared to ask my wife where she was because I didn't want to seem controlling. Meanwhile, someone was photographing me outside my own house. That's when the camera lie finally made sense. Emma didn't want her friends coming over unexpectedly. She didn't want anyone seeing the suitcase. Or the phone. But more than that, she needed people to believe I was watching her. Because then, every strange thing she did had an explanation. Why she turned her location off. Why she used a second phone. Why she left through the back door sometimes. Why she couldn't answer calls around me. It was all because of her controlling husband. Me. I put the phone back exactly where I'd found it. Then, I went to work. I don't remember driving there. I spent most of the day checking the car park through my office window. Every dark car made me nervous. Every person holding a phone looked like they were filming me. Emma texted me around lunchtime. She wanted to know if I was okay. I stared at the message. For years, that question would have made me feel loved. Now it felt like she was checking something. I told her I was fine. Then I did the one thing Emma had spent 6 months making sure I'd be too ashamed to do. I checked her location. We'd shared locations for years. I hadn't looked in months. Emma was supposed to be at work. She wasn't. Her phone showed her at a hotel 20 miles away. I didn't call her. I didn't text. I left work. The entire drive, I kept telling myself not to do anything stupid. I wasn't going there to fight anyone. I just needed to see it. The hotel car park was almost empty. Emma's car was near the back. I parked across the road. 40 minutes passed. Then Emma came outside. She wasn't with another man. She was with a woman I'd never seen before. The woman handed Emma a large brown envelope. Emma hugged her. Then the woman got into her car and left. Emma stood alone for a moment. She opened the envelope. Even from across the road, I could see what was inside. Photographs. Dozens of them. Emma looked through each one. Then she stopped. Her whole body went still. She pulled out her second phone and made a call. Less than a minute later, my phone rang. My wife was calling me. I looked across the road at her. Then, down at my screen. For the first time, I didn't answer. Because I finally understood something. Emma wasn't hiding another man from me. Whatever she was hiding was about me. I watched Emma stare at her phone until the call went to voicemail. Then she called again. I still didn't answer. A minute later, she got into her car and drove away. I stayed parked across from that hotel for another 20 minutes. I don't know what I was waiting for. Maybe I thought the woman would come back. Maybe I was scared to go home. For 6 months, I'd been questioning whether I was a bad husband. Now I was sitting in my car wondering why my wife had photographs of me taken by strangers. I called Rachel. She answered immediately. I asked her how long Emma had been telling people I was controlling. Rachel went quiet. Apparently, it started about 6 months earlier. At first, Emma only said I was jealous. Then I started checking her phone. Then her location. Eventually, I had cameras inside the house. Every few weeks, I became a little worse. And Emma became a little more afraid of me. Rachel sounded embarrassed telling me this. I asked if she'd ever seen me do anything. She hadn't. Nobody had. They just believed my wife. I can't even blame them for that. If someone I loved told me her husband was secretly watching her, I'd probably believe her too. That's what made Emma's lie so perfect. The more I defended myself, the more controlling I would look. I went home before she did. I took the second phone and suitcase from the spare room. Then I sat at the kitchen table. Emma arrived maybe 30 minutes later. She walked in quickly. I could tell she'd been crying. Then she saw the suitcase. I watched her stop. For once, I didn't ask her to explain. I just put the second phone on the table. Emma sat across from me. She looked smaller somehow. I remember hating that. Even after everything, seeing her scared still made some part of me want to comfort her. I kept my hands under the table so I wouldn't. Emma told me the woman at the hotel was a private investigator. She'd hired her 8 months earlier to investigate me. I actually laughed. I couldn't help it. My wife had spent 6 months telling people I was watching her. Meanwhile, she was paying someone to follow me. The first photographs were apparently harmless. Work. The gym. The grocery store. Emma said she'd suspected I was cheating. I wasn't. The investigator found nothing. That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. Emma kept paying. $3,000 became $5,000. Then almost $9,000. Every Friday, she'd meet the investigator and collect photographs. That's what the cash was for. That's what the second phone was for. But I still didn't understand the suitcase. Then Emma told me about a man named David. I'd never heard the name before. David was someone Emma dated before me. Their relationship had been bad. I won't go into every detail, because some of it isn't mine to tell. But David controlled where she went. He checked her phone. He accused her of cheating constantly. He followed her once after work. Emma left him after 2 years. I knew she'd had a difficult ex. I didn't know how bad it had been. And somewhere during our marriage, Emma became convinced I was becoming him. It started because I asked why she was late one night. That's it. One question. She said the way I asked reminded her of David. Then she started noticing other things. If I asked who she was texting, I was checking on her. If I wanted to know when she'd be home, I was tracking her. If I said I missed her, I was making her feel guilty for leaving. In Emma's head, every normal part of our marriage became evidence. So she hired someone to watch me. I asked what she expected the investigator to find. Emma couldn't answer. That's when I realized she wasn't looking for proof I was cheating. She was looking for proof that her fear was correct. And when the investigator found nothing, Emma didn't feel safer. She became more suspicious. Because in her mind it meant I was good at hiding it. I sat there listening to the woman I'd loved for 7 years explain how my innocence had made me look more guilty. I don't know how you're supposed to defend yourself against that. Then I asked about the cameras. Why tell people I'd installed cameras that didn't exist? Emma started crying again. She said she needed people to understand why she was scared. That sentence broke something in me. She needed her fear to make sense. So she gave everyone a reason. Me. I asked about the suitcase. Emma had packed it months earlier in case she needed to leave quickly. The $3,000 was emergency money. She had been preparing to escape from me. I looked around our kitchen. The same kitchen where I'd made her breakfast. Where we'd danced badly while cooking. Where I'd apologized for leaving her sister's birthday early because I had work at 6. My wife had been living in that house like a hostage. And I hadn't even known I was her captor. I wish I could say I was angry. I wasn't. I felt hollow. Emma kept telling me she was sorry. She said she knew now she'd gone too far. But I couldn't stop thinking about my brother asking me if I had a problem with her going out. Her sister removing me online. Rachel believing there were cameras in my house. Those people would never completely forget what Emma told them. Even if she admitted she'd lied. There would always be a small part of them wondering. Maybe there really was something. Maybe Ryan is just good at hiding it. Emma had spent 6 months looking for a monster. When she couldn't find one, she drew my face on it. I left that night. The irony isn't lost on me. Emma had kept a suitcase packed for months. I was the one who used it. I stayed with my brother. Emma told her family the truth. Or at least, her version of the truth. Rachel apologized. Her sister did too. My brother cried when he realized why I'd started acting so careful around Emma. I didn't know he'd noticed. Apparently, everyone had. I had become quieter. I stopped asking questions. I stopped disagreeing with my own wife. I was so afraid of looking controlling that I'd slowly removed myself from my marriage. Emma and I are separated now. She started therapy. I'm in therapy too. I don't know if we'll divorce. 6 months ago, I would have done anything to save my marriage. Now I'm not sure what I'd be saving. I still love Emma. That's the humiliating part. Sometimes I wake up and reach toward her side of the bed before I remember I'm at my brother's house. But I can't go back yet. Maybe ever. Because I learned something I wish I hadn't. You can spend years being careful with someone's heart. You can love them quietly. Give them space. Trust them completely. And if they've already decided to be afraid of you, sometimes they'll keep looking until they find a reason. And if there isn't one, they might create it.